Your next vehicle from Community Motors of Mason City.
Great service from 3 locations: Community on Monroe, Community Motors Westside, and Mason City Ford. 10 new franchises and hundreds of vehicles to give you more choices. Plus, Community offers an exclusive 3-3 warranty on pre-owned vehicles and 10-year, 250,000-mile warranty on new. Need more reasons why? Stop or visit CommunityAutoGroup.com.
Because nobody beats a community deal.
All right. Well, it's 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. This is the regular meeting of the Mason City Council, November 6, 2012 at 7 p.m. We're in the Mason City room of the Mason City Public Library here in Mason City, Iowa. Just a quick note, November 11th coming up, Sunday. Very important day in our country. It's Veterans Day. Please take time before, after church, during the day, and make sure you thank these veterans. Today, election day, these election days, they don't happen without those folks. And we owe them a serious debt and a serious thanks. So make sure to remember that on November 11th. We'll call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all council members are present. Is there a motion and a second to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, well, we are fortunate tonight to have our executive director from Visit Mason City here, Ms. Sue Armour, for Visit Mason City Quarterly Update.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me come and give you an update on some of the things that Visit Mason City has been working on. I'm pleased to share with you tonight information regarding the close of our 2011 and 2012 fiscal year. It actually ended at the end of September. So to best maximize, resources, we will actually be officially hosting our annual meeting in conjunction with our tourism town meeting and the kickoff of the tourism season. So that actually will happen in May, but I wanted to make sure we got the information to you in a timely manner. As you know, we're dedicated to selling Mason City and attracting and servicing visitors that are coming to town. Our goal is to create and drive multiple day stays, which directly fuels the need to leave visitor dollars left behind in the community. And so I just wanted to real quickly just provide some highlights of the annual report that are included in the packet that I left for you at your stations. A little bit about the Visitor Information Center. We opened that early this year, and we are pleased with all of the wonderful results that we are getting. We are not missed. The bright red roof and the signage are strong examples of how our increased visibility in the area and in the visitor industry as a whole has really helped create and generate visitor spending. Just this year, we realized a 62% increase in the number of visitors assisted at the center. However, we were not fully operational the entire year. So another point of reference would be just to look at the months that we are in peak season, and we had a 222% increase compared to traffic last year. And you may be thinking to yourself, why is that important? Well, 35% of those that stopped at the center stayed longer, and when they stay longer, they leave more visitor spending behind. So we have gained and generated more income through that way. Plus, there is a higher return rate, so we're increasing the number of repeat trips to the area because now they are more knowledgeable about all of the diversity and the variety of attractions and facilities that they can partake in when they visit the community. Striving to maximize our resources, we recruited nearly 25 volunteers, and they have put in over 1,600 hours at the Visitor Information Center. That's in addition to staff. So the Visitor Information Center is really truly run by volunteers that are ambassadors to our community and a remarkable first impression and eager to help. So that's been really, really wonderful to see. We've also had several partnerships, and with these partners, we've been able to increase the awareness of the area. We've championed several marketing and sales efforts, which attracted and retained, while also expanding the number of visitors in the community. Through sales calls, internet, and trade show presence, as well as advertisements, media releases produced, Facebook likes, YouTube views. All of this combined resulted in Visit Mason City's ability to work with an estimated $14.6 million in visitor spending over the 2011 and the 2012 fiscal year. Our office fulfilled 44,000 visitor requests. We actually ran out of travel guides and we had to print more to get us through the end of the year. We worked with over 120 meetings, sporting events, and group tours. We also act as a liaison between the visitors and the local community, providing assistance with referrals to goods and services in the community, and also marketing assistance, attendance, building things in order to draw people to the area, as well as welcoming services to really provide that great first impression of our community. We have a tourism marketing grant that was used a lot this past year. We had 19 awards, and we were able to leverage $20,000 of private funds to again help market Mason City. Not only did we give grants, but we also received grants. We were able to receive, for the 5th consecutive year, a $50,000 grant from the Iowa Tourism Office called the Sports Authority Grant, and which Visit Mason City partners with Clear Lake and the county, but we serve as the lead role managing this grant and also submitting and applying for these funds. These funds were used to attract a new sporting event to town, and were also used to retain and grow 16 events, ensuring their growth and their sustainability here in the community. Looking ahead, we've already, of course, are planning for the next season, and we will be working on a long-range plan. And through this process, we will be partnering with city leaders like yourselves, as well as tourism partners and the Visit Mason City Board of Directors, to create a long-range plan that will positively impact the local economy while positioning Mason City and the North Iowa area as a destination for the arts and culture, meeting and events, sports and leisure travel. In addition, here within the next few months, we will be unveiling a revamped website, mobile website, digital travel guide, as well as a new kiosk interface. So we have a lot on our plate that will be just coming here in the next few months. Visitor spending is an economic engine in Mason City. It is a major tax generator through property taxes, sales tax, school infrastructure tax, lodging tax. It supports local businesses with money spent every day, nearly every minute. These are jobs that cannot be exported out of this community, again, so supplying jobs. In many cases, tourism and Visit Mason City serves as the brand ambassador for the community, again, creating a position statement for us and an impression for the area. We exist to help the same people as you, the City of Mason City. We're here to help the local businesses and the area residents. And so we look forward to your partnership, and we thank you for your partnership this past year. And we really encourage you to get involved. We'll have a chance to work with a consultant for our long-range plan and to help guide the process, just to kind of give you a little bit of a jump start. I've included in your packet the program development plan for next year. I realize it's a lengthy document, but I do want to bring to your attention that on the back page includes the forecasted budget for the 2012-2013 year. Plus, there's a condensed version of the plan. It's titled Media Plan Sheet. So just at least take a peek at that and be a little bit mindful of some of the things that we anticipate undertaking here in our next fiscal year.
Thank you, Ms. Armour. Please thank your board and your volunteers. You guys have done a great job. Council, do you have any questions for the Executive Director? Comments? Yeah, Mr. Hanke.
Well, I've had a pleasure of being on your board and working with you, and you guys do a fantastic job. Any word on the pyro tax yet?
I have been in meetings the last 2 weeks. We are in contract negotiations for 2014. A letter of intent has been completed. We're just kind of working through, they have a new business model, and so we are working through those changes to make sure that it's a win-win situation. But the dates are set for August the 9th, I think it's like the 15th of 2014.
Cool.
And the For those that are new, the pyrotechnic event is the fireworks convention that brings in 3,000 people for 8 days. 3,000 people every day for 8 days.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaky. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much. Take care. All right. Number 2 tonight, we have a presentation by Mark Reinick. He's the Economic Development Manager for ISU Center for Industrial Research and Service. And it's regarding the CIRRUS program, CIRRUS Economic Sustainability and Innovation Assistance Program. And a lot of folks will be seeing a lot of you tomorrow. So.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor, City Council. As Mayor indicated, we're starting a Cerro Gordo County Sustainability Summit, and we're holding that tomorrow and right across the street. And that'll be an all-day event from 9 o'clock till 3, 4 o'clock. In that summit, what we are bringing to the table is we have the EDA, Economic Development Administration's University Center for the state of Iowa. And in that, we have the charge to go out and work on regional development within the state. And we chose 4 different sites around the state. We started with Carroll County, we went to Lee County, and Appaloosa County. We're still involved in those areas, but now the last one that we've chosen is Cerro Gordo. Part of the reason we chose Cerro Gordo is your strong economic development professional staff that you have in the North Iowa corridor. We also are going to be partnering with NIAC and then the North Iowa Area Planning Agency. With this summit, what we're looking at is bringing together individuals within the community that want to have an impact on what could be a sustainable county effort. We've been working with businesses throughout the county over the last several months, working on a triple bottom line where we look at people, profit, and planet type thing on how their bottom line can be better and also help the community's bottom line. In this effort, though, what we're going to be doing is we have been studying the county for about 3 months now. And what we're bringing in, and we do it in a reverse fashion of what we used to do or what we typically do, where we work with the community, work towards a study, and at the end of the time we lay out a study and go, here, now you need to implement this study and the recommendations from that. What we're doing is bringing all of our recommendations forward at the beginning and sharing with the community and saying, all right, here's the information we have. How can we then now take this forward for the next 8 months to a year and be able to take pieces and parts of that, pick projects out, and then decide what can we take forward. What's nice with this program is it's funded by the federal government and some state money, so there is no outlying cash that we're looking at for any of this programming. This will all be paid for. Only the time and effort of the staff of the groups that are assisting with us, that'll be a cost. But most of it is how can we bring more resources in from Iowa State University or wherever we can find it to look at what those solutions and areas of study that this groups that will meet tomorrow, and then we'll do a steering committee from that, also to take forward to look at how can we look at making Cerro Gordo more sustainable and looking at the innovative ways that we can accomplish that.
Thank you.
Answer any questions?
Yeah. Well, appreciate you being up here. This is a good project. Folks, do you have any questions or comments for Mark? Mr.
Thank you for being here. As you were speaking, I'm looking back at Trish now. I'm our city representative on our Environmental and Sustainability Advisory Commission, and some of the terms you were using, we were using in our monthly meeting last week. I don't know if I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. I was hoping to attend, but I hope someone from the city or someone from our commission is going to be there to gather those resources, because it sounds like we're working on similar things locally, and we're very much in the infant stages of our work, but I could see a member of our commission gaining some knowledge and resources from the information that you're going to bring in and ways to partner moving forward. So hopefully we have a presence there. And now the steering committee, is that something you're going to be looking for local appointees to be?
We're looking for anybody who wants to be involved with the steering committee. I mean, it's not going to be, oh, we'll interview people, but it's really anybody who really wants to participate with it. And one of your, something that you said is key. We aren't trying to reinvent the wheel. If you have programs that are going forward, we'll look at how we can partner with your efforts that are already happening and see how we can best leverage our resources and move forward.
Thank you. That sounds like a good opportunity for our group, and look forward to seeing the information from the meeting. Thanks for being here.
And one other thing, anybody who you feel that should be at the meeting, who couldn't be at the meeting, we would gladly meet with them in the next couple of weeks to go over what the results from the initial summit are, and then how they can be involved.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much. All right, number 3 is presentation by Doug Ripley regarding emergency vehicle preemption GPS system, and here to introduce him tonight is Engineering Director Mark Grant.
Thank you. I just want to thank Council and the Mayor for this opportunity to give you a clip of this emergency vehicle preemption project that has just been recently completed. I also want to thank you, Council, for support of this project. The project adds safety and it will improve service to the community as well. The project also adds value to our infrastructure. And this is in thanks to the cooperation between fire and engineering departments, traffic control corporation and their subcontractors, and to our city's grant administrator who worked so hard to secure this grant. It's a 90-10 match. A very good project for the city. With that, I'll turn it over to Doug Ripley for a short presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's my pleasure to provide you a brief summary of this project as it's coming to conclusion. Right here. As Mr. Rand mentioned, this was a collaborative process. This project was funded through a FEMA grant, specifically the Assistance to Firefighters grant. And so it involves several different agencies within the city, which we had the pleasure of working with. The fire department, city engineering, the police specifically. In addition, the grant folks, public works were involved in this. And then our team, Traffic Control Corporation, we also included a couple of partners, Jim Hunt Electric and Electronic Engineering, as part of our team as well. Simply, what is emergency vehicle preemption? It's in the simplest terms, it allows a fire truck to call ahead to a traffic signal intersection and say, hey, here I come, give me the green light. It's much more complex than that, obviously. It's using satellite, GPS satellites, defense satellites, it's using radio communications. But in essence, it's calling ahead and letting the intersection know, the signal equipment, I'm coming, this is when I will arrive. Please give me the green light. In addition, make sure nobody else has a green light so I can proceed safely, and then clear the cars in front of me out of the way. The project itself included installing the equipment in all 44 signalized intersections within the city of Mason City and all 21 fire vehicles. In addition, we included a fire station system that allows the firefighters, when they're going on an emergency call, to get the system going even before they get into their vehicles. And then, in addition to that, we're connecting 18 of the intersections, primarily on the west side, through a fiber optic or through an Ethernet network that's going to allow communications to a central management software, and also allow the system being operated and maintained by city staff through electronics, rather than having to go out to each individual intersection through that. One remarkable thing is this project was completed with this cooperative process in about 5 months, and that was a significant amount of work that was put forth. We had favorable weather. We had a lot of cooperation between the city and our team, and so we were able to accomplish that work. I'm going to show you a very brief video, if I can, out of this. Momentarily. It does a very good synopsis of the system, and I'm only using a clip of it.
Time could be a friend or your worst enemy in an emergency. Seconds count, and emergency response teams know that getting to the scene safely and quickly is a critical part of their job. On busy roadways, traffic delays cost valuable time. Each second lost to red lights and traffic blocking that critical route to the emergency summit can multiply damage or reduce chances for survival. How much do seconds matter? A small fire can double in size every 17 seconds and reach flashover in 6 to 7 minutes. A person in cardiac arrest is 6 times more likely to survive if emergency care is provided in less than 4 minutes. First responders need a reliable way to gain control over traffic in their path and win back precious time. Studies show that effective emergency vehicle preemption systems can improve response times by an average of 20% while reducing the occurrence of accidents. Providing innovative solutions for emergency vehicle preemption at signalized intersections for more than 30 years, Global Traffic Technologies knows that every second counts. The Opticom GPS system utilizes global positioning technology and radio communication to create a smarter, more responsive emergency vehicle preemption system. Here's how the system works. The Opticom GPS system integrates global positioning satellite technology with secure radio frequency communications between receivers mounted in emergency vehicles and at controlled intersections. The emergency vehicle's GPS unit continually monitors speed, heading, longitude, and latitude information. As the vehicle approaches an Opticom GPS system-equipped intersection, the vehicle radio sends speed, heading, and position information that is updated at 1-second intervals. The intersection radio receives emergency vehicle position information and relays it to the phase selector located in the controller cabinet. The phase selector verifies authorized user status and requests green light preemption through normal signal controller functions. The Opticom GPS system is designed to initiate signal changes that seem normal to other traffic at equipped intersections, improving safety. Traffic responds naturally. Cross-street traffic stops, and traffic in front of the emergency vehicle clears. Global positioning technology tracks the vehicle's activity and determines its estimated time of arrival at the intersection. The Opticom GPS system provides the most efficient green timed phase for the approaching emergency vehicle, and traffic disruption is minimized. The vehicle radio unit monitors turn signals and transmits intended directional changes to the intersection radio. The system recognizes the activated turn signal and relays the preemption request forward to the next controlled intersection on the route. The Opticom GPS system allows each upcoming intersection to display the appropriate signal lights to traffic in all directions, so the emergency vehicle can cross in the safest, most efficient condition possible. Opticom.
I'll just skip to the last slide. So what does all this mean to the city of Mason City? Well, basically, several things. As the slide mentioned, it includes significant reduction in response times. Statistically, it shows about 20%. Anecdotally, and we have not done any studies on the Mason City system, but we're seeing a very significant improvement in response times from the fire station to on their primary routes along the major intersections. But in addition, it also has a significant reduction in the number of incidents and the severity of incidents at an intersection. And when you're talking about a $1 million vehicle and several citizens that may be involved, those intersection crashes can be pretty catastrophic. And so if we can reduce those by a significant margin, which we can with the system, there's a tremendous benefit to not just the fire department, but to everybody involved with the intersections. In addition, there's several other features that cause less maintenance when you don't have to stop as much, reduced impact to the vehicles, and so on and so forth. I'd be happy to entertain any questions, and I believe the chief was going to maybe say a few words in summary as well.
Again, as you can see, the system, as it's designed, works well. I want to thank you for your support. I'm already hearing from the firefighters that in some instances we're cutting response time by at least 2 minutes, which is really significant. The nice thing, and I point out to the public, is right in the vicinity of the fire station, they might seem like they're sitting a long time, especially at 5th and Jefferson, but they're not. I mean, it's holding them so we can get out the door, and we need to be able to, again, we don't know if an ambulance is going when we push that button, or when we push the button, it's going to hold for a certain amount of time. So all the trucks could be going out, or just an ambulance could be going out. So people might have to sit there and wait, but the effectiveness for us is it clears the traffic before we leave the building. So we're not coming out onto any traffic in our way. It's already cleared the intersection, so we can just glide through it. So it's working very well. I'll be interested to see on long range how it does for us. But again, thank you for your support, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. This is a wonderful project. Thanks of course to Beth as well. And anytime you're increasing response rates by 20%, improving crash rates up to 70% coming out of intersections, that's pretty spectacular. Council, do you have any questions for the chief?
One other thing, on his slide, it showed 80% funded. It was a 90% funded.
90%,
yes. It was a 90-10 split.
That's a nice split. Mr. Torquist.
How many weeks has this been hot?
Probably the 1st of October.
The first intersection started going online in early August. As they were going on, as they were being installed, they were going online. So August and September, they were pretty much all installed by the first or second week of September in the vehicles. So it's been fully on since the middle of September.
It's a pretty slick system. I trust that we're being very conscientious and pointed at collecting data that we can use as we evaluate opportunities for expansion in the future across police vehicles and so on.
Sure.
Okay. Yes. I think I saw in the video, I inferred 2 things that our people need to do when they go out on an emergency call. It looked like the first thing is inside the cab, flip the switch on.
It actually, when they turn the siren on or turn the lights on, it activates.
Okay.
And when we stop the car, and like some of them, if you put it in park or if you open the door, it disengages it. So it's not holding the intersection. If you're out in traffic, you don't want to continue to hold the intersection.
So it's tied to the light. So when we have emergency vehicles returning to the station in a non-emergency mode, the system's not activated. And
if in the case that we were to go to an accident and then have to respond quickly to the hospital, we would have to re-engage the system.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I think the second thing that I saw that would be important is for the drivers of the vehicle to use their turn signals, or else that would negate some of the benefit of the system.
Yes, they were all trained that way, and other things we stress too is driving the lights. I mean, don't just assume you're going to have the green. Really know that you've got the green. So we're not just depending on this that it's going to work. Again, as we add more people to it, it may grab somebody else's signal before we are. If law enforcement has it and they hit the zone first, they might get the green, we might not go into the same call. So again, it's really important that our people understand the system and drive the system. So watching the lights.
I don't recall exactly how this project came to be, but I'm thinking that it was you that learned of the opportunity and the grant and the funding and brought it to our attention.
I would like to say that, yes, but actually it was Beth Wright and Joe Beck, my administrative assistant, who really wrote the grant and were able to secure it. They're the ones that gathered the information needed. It was part of the Fire Act grant.
Well, kudos to them.
Yes.
And to you for seeing the opportunity and bringing it forward. It's a pretty slick deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Torquist. Go ahead, Mr. Trout.
One comment I have is we also have applied for a grant through Lucas Prairie Meadows to outfit our police cars with these same systems that will work on the cars for this system. And that's our first effort, and then as we get more numbers, then we'll decide which way we want to go if we're not successful with the grant.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Solomon.
As we upgrade our vehicles, are these timing devices transferable, or
yes.
do we have?
Yes, we can take them out of one vehicle, put them in another vehicle.
So is that something our city staff is able to do then, or do we have to bring, specialists in to do that?
Basically, electronic engineering, who does all of our work now with our radios. When I get a new vehicle, I send it down to electronic engineering. They pull all the radios and put them into the new vehicle. This will just be a piece that they also transfer to the new vehicle.
Very good, thank you.
Hey, Ms. Solberg, anybody else? All right, thank you, folks. We appreciate it. All right. Well, now's the time for public forum. Mayor and council welcome comments from the public on agenda items only. Ask your name, address, and the item you want to address, and you come forward, and the clock, as you're looking away from the podium, is right up over there. So. All right. Well, seeing none, we will close the public forum, and we'll move on to the consent agenda, and I will read that, and then we'll let councils have a opportunity to pull items. Number 4, minutes, regular minutes of October 16th, closed and special minutes of October 17th, 2012, and council work session minutes of October 30th, 2012. 5 claims dated October 18th, 25th, and November 1st, 2012. 6 permits. 7, mayor recommending approval, appointment of Tom Hubland to the Airport Commission. 8, administrator recommending approval, appoint to hire Stephen Starr as a part-time safety assistant at $9 an hour. Number 9, administrator recommending approval revision to administrative policy 3.17, contractual services, procurement request for proposals. Number 10, administrator recommending approval resolution levying assessment for charges on certain properties and certification of same to the county treasurer for collection. 11, administrator recommending approval resolution approving the purchase of truck chassis from Interstate Motor Trucks, Inc. of Mason City, Iowa, and recycling body from Elliott Equipment of Grimes, Iowa, to the Sanitation Department. 12, administrator recommending approval resolution award of contract to Reliant Fire Apparatus, Inc. of Cedarburg, Wisconsin. Trying to get it to come up here. There we go. The purchase of a 100-foot Pierce Velocity aerial platform. 13, administrator recommending approval resolution awarding a contract to 2B's Lawn Care for the 2012-2013 snow and ice removal in the city of Mason City, Iowa. 14, administrator recommending approval resolution approving contract and bond for the construction of the 2012 water treatment plant hypochlorite generator improvements. 15, administrator recommending approval resolution accepting work and ordering payment for the emergency vehicle preemptive GPS system for the city of Mason City, Iowa. 16, administrator recommending approval flood 2008 resolution accepting warranty deed from 612 North Harrison Avenue. 17, administrator recommending approval resolution award of contract 2012 D-10 to Charleston Excavating of Clear Lake, Iowa for demolition and clearance of properties through the 100% CDBG funded buyout. 18, administrator recommending approval resolution of award number 212 D11 to New Horizons Enterprises Specialties LLC of Lincoln, Nebraska for asbestos abatement services related to the city's flood buyout programs. And 19, administrator recommending approval resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign a waiver of any conflict of interest associated with dollars, including representation of the city in matters relating to the issuance of the city's industrial development revenue bonds or notes and or loans of the proceeds of the sale thereof to Metalcraft Inc. B, resolution regarding the issuance of not to exceed $3.5 million in aggregate principal amount of Mason City, Iowa industrial development revenue bonds or notes and declaring an official intent to reimburse. Council, do you have any items that you would like to pull? Ms. Solberg.
5.
Anybody else?
9 and 11.
Anybody else? All right. Well, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 5, 9, and 11, I believe.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Clerk call the roll.
Marinas?
Yes.
Solberg?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Tornquist?
Yes.
Hewen?
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Ms. Solberg, do you have a motion on 5?
Move to approve claims from October 18th and 25th,
Is there a second?
2012.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Solberg.
I need to recuse myself from the November 1st reimbursement claim, as it's reimbursement to myself for the FEMA disaster training in Maryland upcoming, and it's for city and county employees.
Thank you, Ms. Solberg. Anybody else? All right. Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Solberg.
Yes.
Tornquist.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hewen.
Yes.
Morenas. Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Number 9, administrator recommending.
We have to do November 1st.
Oh, we need one for the November. My apologies, my apologies. Do we have a motion for November 1st?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Nope. All right, clerk call roll.
Tornquist.
Yes.
Morenas. Yes. Hickey.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Solberg.
Recuse myself.
Hewen.
Yes.
All right, thank you very kindly. Number 9, administrator recommending approval revision to administrative policy 3.17, contractual services procurement request for proposals. And that's increasing the current amount of $25,000 to threshold to $75,000 for contractual services when following the current RFP procedures. Mr. Hickey, do you have a motion?
No.
Anybody else? Move to approve. Thank you, Mr. Trumquist. For a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Morenas. Mr. Trumquist.
No comment.
Ms. Morenas.
No comment.
Anybody else? Mr. Hickey?
I guess, if I remember right, this is based on the workshop we had, increasing the threshold to basically give other engineering companies, firms, an opportunity to bid in the process.
What it will do is provide us the opportunity to choose an engineering firm to do a particular project, focusing on the locally funded projects. If we have a project that's around $800,000 in construction costs, that would allow us to choose an engineering firm rather than going through an RFP process. The thoughts being that it saves time for us, it saves time for them, not going through the process. We, Mark Graham and I and Bill, we're committed to rotating that process around, taking a look at the different projects that might exist and making sure that everyone is getting some of the business, but also allowing us to choose the firm we feel is best qualified to do the particular job.
But isn't by going through the RFP process, you're getting the best firm for the best price?
No, actually, the prices are negotiated after the fact. After selecting the firm that we feel is the best qualified for the position, we negotiate the price. So the price is not what we look at it up front. We look at who we feel is best that can do the work. And then we negotiate the price, and most of the time we have all those prices up front from the beginning of the year. We're aware of what their prices are.
But isn't the quality of work through the RFP process given to the best candidate?
Yes, the RFP process does to go through a process of looking at who is the best candidate. But one of the things that we hear is that the process is so narrow as to who is best that oftentimes any of the firms could do the work. And so we look at that any firm could potentially do the work, and as long as we feel we're going to get quality work out of them, then we would be willing to hire them.
And I guess my biggest fear is, and we talked about in our workshop, is by spreading the work out, it was mentioned that we would probably have a firm in place going into the project. And I guess going through the RFP process, and I understand what you're saying, that then we're going to get the best, I guess, best process that we can. And there's no fear of nepotism,
sure,
anything like that.
I understand totally your argument and concern there, but I think that given the firms that we have here in town, that we have the ability to select a firm that we feel will meet the needs that we have for the project. It is not something where we feel that we will be degrading what kind of service level we'll receive. Obviously, the other thing that will happen is if we choose them and they're not effective, then they won't be choosing or thought of as highly the next time around. And so we feel that this process will give us flexibility, but it will also ensure us that we won't have the ability of the firm, based off of the fact that they haven't received the project before, they'll be selected. I think this will actually ensure that we'll proceed with hiring the firm that we feel is best to do the project.
And I know a lot of this has to do with time, and I'm all in favor of reducing time and workload when you can. But I just feel that the process that's in place, which most of the cities in the state of Iowa follow, to my understanding, I guess I don't understand why we're changing it at this point. Just, I guess when it was initially brought forward to us, it was pretty much presented that other companies felt they weren't getting a piece of the pie, so to speak. But if the firm that was doing the best work and got through the process, I just feel they should be awarded the bid based on the quality work they provide.
Well,
that's where I'm kind of at with it.
Right, and I fully agree that the best company needs to be hired. The other thing is that oftentimes this is a small number of projects, small number of impact for us, and that for these, with the process will still be making sure they understand the project, that they'll be able to do the project for us. It won't be just, well, we like you. It will be a process that we'll use to analyze whether or not they're the right company to do the job.
Okay. I'm curious here what my other colleagues have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Shaky. Anybody else? Mr. King.
Thank you, Mayor. I will support this, and I said I voiced my concerns at the workshop, and a lot of them are similar to what Councilman Hickey just spoke about. I had a couple questions. I don't know if Mark or Brent want to answer them, but how many on an annual basis, how many projects increasing from $25,000 to $75,000 minimum fee will that affect? I know we don't know for sure until we approve the budget, but on average.
Right. Actually, most of them that would fit that category, I do within my own office. There are occasionally projects. Typically, they're on a smaller nature, but it does give us the flexibility. We do have sewer projects that get into the larger dollar amounts, and it gives us some of that flexibility. But on average, there may be 3, maybe 4 a year, if that, and they're typically smaller projects. I think I'd probably say 2 or 3 actually, rather than 3 or 4.
And how are we? So if this does get approved tonight, and we move ahead, we have our 3 engineering firms, and one of those 3 projects is a project that a firm did a very good job on in the past, but we're to the point where we're now going to say, well, they just had a project, let's give it to the other qualified firm. That's where my concern came from, was they would have that prior knowledge, that prior experience, and intimate knowledge of the systems they would be working on, but we would be giving it to someone else just sort of making conscious effort to spread the projects around. You guys talk about that a little, how we're going to...
Sure, I think we still, myself, I will still choose the most qualified engineer for that project. As Brent mentioned, there's some of the projects that we do, they are, I don't want to say they're simple projects because I don't want to say that, but they're a project that any one of the 3 firms could do equally with all confidence that I have to know. But if a project comes along where I know from past experience that I've had better service from a certain consultant, if it means I got 2 in a row, I probably would recommend to choose them. But this does give us the flexibility to look at a little simpler way to try and spread the work out without going through such a heavy process. And that's basically the whole point. I mean, this is not going to impact or be effective for that many of the projects. Most projects we do outside of my office have federal funds or funds of that nature attached to them, where we have to go through the RFP process then. And it doesn't mean, just even with this level, this doesn't mean that we can't. If we had something that we estimated the services may be $50,000, but it's sort of a specialty type project, we'll still go through the RFP process to make sure we have the best qualified for that.
And one of the things I was concerned about, I asked questions at the work session, was how we're going to increase or improve our process of giving feedback to the firms. That was some of the comments from a couple of the firms that were concerned, is we're submitting on these RFPs, but we're not getting feedback of what we did wrong. How are we going to improve that communication process with those moving ahead on these type of projects if there's not going to be an RFP?
We could
basically telling them why they didn't get it. Is it just because it was the next person in line or keep it equitable.
Right, and we could, you know, there are processes out there to evaluate consultants for services that they provide. I mean, we could implement something like that as in place of the when you're talking about RFPs, when they have questions about they wonder what they're lacking, or I mean, that to me, again, I put that on them to come forward and ask those questions, and not necessarily for me to reach out to them and critique their work for them. I mean, I critique it, but if they want feedback, my door's open. I've always answered their questions.
Well, I'd be interested if this does move ahead to get maybe a 6-month, 12-month review of how this improved the quality of the work and the prices that we're getting. Because I think we are getting quality projects. I think the biggest concern was just a perception of inequity on which firms are getting that, and I think our biggest concern needs to be about the quality and the pricing for the taxpayers, and that's what I want to protect moving forward.
Do you want an amendment then for a particular time period, 6 months, year, to test it and review again?
I would support that, I guess.
Report.
No, I was just wanting to.
Is there a better recommendation you might have, Brent, as far as reporting back to us how this has improved the process without an amendment?
Yeah, you don't need an amendment. I got it.
He's going to do an annual report.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr. Lee, from my understanding, RFPs, what's the purpose of an RFP? Kind of to see quality work, to look at who's most qualified, and also a process that appears or breaks down the perception of favoritism? Is that my understanding of an RFP process?
The RFP is a request for proposals, and we send out, or this project, they send out a scope of work to the consultant and provide information as far as what is expected of them, provide other details of funding, things like that, that are included in the project, and then they submit their proposal, which is their opportunity to show what they've done with related projects, to talk about their staff, show their qualifications and experiences and things like that. And then in our process, we meet then as a committee to review those proposals and grade them based on their response to the request and how it fits our project. We fit that consultant we feel is best for that particular project then.
I guess I see the RFP process also as a protection for our staff. This is a process that we just send out. We look for qualified builders or engineers, and it's more of a structured process. I understand the time it takes. Well, maybe I don't understand the complete time it takes. But I see this as a way to protect our staff from the idea of favoritism or anything along those lines. The appearance of this, to me, is much more sound, and I guess to me, I don't favor this. I think I'm not a big fan of just giving, well, we got to rotate this to the next qualified person, and then I think the RP does a better job of protecting. I guess I'm just going to keep repeating that. It protects the perception of protection of our staff. And there's a reason why there's an RFP process. There's a reason why most cities use it and why the national government forces people to follow the RFP, especially when their money's involved. So I think we should keep the process as is. I have not heard an argument yet that convinces me otherwise, at least.
The one thing I would say is that right now, if certain firms would say that they already feel there's favoritism in staff even if we use the RFP process. So I think that to say that the RFP process is going to change that perception, that this change is going to change that, I don't think that's the case.
I understand, because they're not getting businesses, but I'm talking about perception of the community, perception from outside, perception. If I wasn't getting, if I was doing a business and my competitor's getting all of it, the easiest thing to do is say, favoritism or why them, instead of looking at myself and what I need to do. But perception, I'm not talking about perceptions of the competitors, I'm talking perception of our citizens or from whatever. I think that's perception I'm referring to, not the businesses.
Well, and I think for us, we still vet whether or not a firm is the qualified firm for doing the position, for doing the particular job.
And I don't question that. I'm talking about perception and what their RFP process is about. And I guess to me, if it's to save time, I don't, if that's truly the argument, I don't think that's a good enough reason. Just to get somebody else's business that hasn't, not to say they haven't earned it through the RFP process, but to find a way that this is what we do and this is why we're the best, and they figure the process out and they know what we're looking for and they can deliver a quality product, then they've earned it. And that's just where I'm at. Thank you.
Mr. Arquist. I think staff has made 2 concessions since we had the work session that mitigate the concerns that are being expressed. One is there was going to be a formalized procedure for keeping track of who was getting what. It's going to be an automatic rotation by default, and that's not part of this policy recommendation. And I've heard Mr. Ram state that it would be his intent to continue to award work to the most qualified, especially if it was work of similar nature in rapid succession. And those 2 concessions are enough to alleviate for me the concerns that have been expressed. Now, it's no secret that this has been a topic that I've wanted to have on the table for a number of years. And from that perspective, I'm satisfied whether we make changes or not. It's something that I felt needed to see the light of day as far as a responsible conversation. I believe I had 3 conversations with the city administrator, private consultations on this topic, in which 2, the city engineer participated. And in fact, sometime between the 2nd and 3rd meeting, staff took ownership of this. And since that 2nd meeting that I had with staff, I've had absolutely no input into this, and any input that I had prior to that point in time was very global in nature. We never got to the point in time of putting things down on paper to where they were pretty firm to come forward. Here's what's important about that. We have those amongst this body, and we all know who we are, that for years now have been saying we want staff working on lean policies. We put a lot of pressure on you. Lean, lean, lean. Bring forward ideas that are going to make us more efficient. Bring forward ideas that are going to make us save money. Put us in a position to save money. This is an idea that staff is bringing forward. This is an idea that staff is saying can save us money, mostly in terms of time. If we're not willing to consider an idea after the kind of pressure that we put on staff to bring ideas forward, if we're not willing to consider an idea of this nature that's relatively simple, isn't going to cost us any money, and has very low risk, then I'm not sure what kind of lean ideas we would support. I think another way of thinking about this is we're not talking about getting rid of the RFP process. We're talking about raising the ceiling that's required from $25,000 to $75,000. Now, if you're making $50,000 a year, that sounds like a lot of money. But we're talking about a $5 million budget, and there's not very many projects that we do that are $75,000 or less. There's not much we can do for $25,000. That's why this creates an opportunity for us to save time through efficiencies, because we're raising that threshold from 25 to 75, and that's why, Councilman Kuhn, it probably wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for us to say a 6-month trial, because it's entirely possible in the next 6 months we won't even have a project that will fit this program. It may be 12, 18, 24 months before we even have a project that would fit in to this change that we're talking about making. That's how insignificant in the big scheme of things this policy change really is, and why I believe we should support staff and what they're bringing forward. Again, if we're not going to support something as relatively simple as this, I'm not sure that we're really in a position to keep hammering on staff to bring efficiency ideas forward.
Mr. Arquist, how about? All right.
I'm just curious if the other 2 were going to.
Nope, Mr. Hickey, go ahead.
Okay. So currently, how long does the process take on the current RFP process?
When the request is prepared and sent out, we typically give consultants 2 to 3 weeks to prepare the proposal. That comes in. It typically takes staff a week to 10 days then depending on when the council meeting falls. So that's, I mean, probably another couple weeks to review those and be able to get together and discuss them. And then the preparation comes to, before council to award a contract to them. And then we go back and we negotiate for a week or two with the consultant to come up to form that contract with them. And then that comes back to council again for approval. And then they're hired, and then we can start the project. So we can get 6 to 8 weeks wrapped up in a project before we can even get started.
And the process you're talking about, implement, how long will that process take?
I envision that as preparing a simple letter of scope of project and some of those things provided to the consultant, and ask them to submit, their interest. In that they would include something. I've done this in the past where even on a very, very small project, still wanted to get a feel for what they have to offer to the city as far as services for that project. So I would see it as something as simplistic as that they just reply with a letter, a 2-page letter with some information, and at that point we negotiate a contract. If it meets the needs, we negotiate a contract with them and then bring that to council one time, and we would have
time frame though, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Probably between 2 and 3, depending on where the council meeting would fall.
Would you contact all the engineering firms, or would you just have one already reset in your mind?
For the most part, one set in the mind, yes.
And see, and that's why I agree with Councilman. Because if you're not going to give everybody the opportunity to vote or put their bid, submit their bid in on the process, then again, that's where you have the potential from the citizens of the community that, again, we're pre-selecting a certain firm. Is that fair to the other firms then? That could probably, like you said, do the project for this just as well as the other firm, but maybe they could do it cheaper and provide the better service. How do we get away from that stigma, so to speak?
I believe it is fair, because right now with the policy at 25,000, we can still do that. It's just at a smaller scale. And one thing that Brett mentioned is we don't work on cost or price up front. That always comes after the selection is made. But on our purchase policy, though, on services where we do base them on cost, then I guess there's the same thing on small projects. There's the same process that I follow as far as if I'm hiring someone for a $5,000 project or plus, then I have to go out for written quotes, and I provide them with a short narrative of what I'm asking for, and then I do send it out to 2, 3, 5, depends on how many of those type of service providers we have in Mason City that I want to choose from. But this is different because it's not based on price. So you have to, if I go out to invite a consultant to work on a project for me, and we sit down and we start talking about cost and stuff. If if it's not to my liking or doesn't fit, doesn't fit the project, then we stop and we move to another one. It's the same thing with the RFP process. If you can't reach an agreement with your first choice, you move on to the second.
So are the current?
We'll come back to you. Anybody else on response? Mr. Lee.
I'd like to correct one thing. This has been considered. To say I haven't considered it, it's Mr. Tronquist, I guess. Just to consider something, you can say no against it. And you said if we need to consider something that's brought forward. Well, I have considered it. We had a workshop on it. I thought about it quite a bit afterwards, and reading this weekend. I just look at it as there's a process in place. I understand the time, and you say 7 to 10 days after you get it back. But how much actual time sitting down looking at the RFPs is it? You don't spend 7 days looking at them.
No, it can be several hours to go through and critique. I mean, it depends on how many you take in, of course.
Okay. And that's just all. I have considered this, and I understand the arguments, and I can live with this a little bit better than when we're just going to rotate it, or that really, well, This is better than that, I agree. And that's why I wavered back and forth when it came down to I consciously just can't agree to do that. I just think we have a process in place that's working. Time-wise, I understand that, but that's just where I'm at.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Anybody else in response? You want to make a motion to extend the bid?
Motion to extend the bid.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Hickey.
So under the current RFP process, are we not getting the quality of work that we deserve and need as a city and community?
No, I believe we are.
So what would then, if you had 3 firms that were in the RFP process, what would be the difference between what you're already doing a pre-selected firm compared to the ones that don't get the bid?
Doing it this way, doing this
Under the current
way.
process you're doing it right now.
I guess I'm not exactly sure if I understand the question, but it's,
If we're getting, if we're getting the quality of work that we just need as a city and a community, and we want to change the process so we can give it to somebody else that maybe didn't do as quality a job through the RFP process, what's the difference in the RFP process that X firm would get compared to Y firm compared to Z firm, so to speak, that we would want to change the process that we're currently going through now? Does that make sense? No?
well, it does, but I think, well, let me,
So if one firm currently is getting most of the bids, why aren't the other ones why aren't they getting the bids currently right now?
because, basically because of
They were
the
taking
committees,
effect from them.
because of the proposal that's received back and the judgment of the committee, I mean, the way they're scored. It's, a lot of times, it's such a fine line, but there is a line, you know, where someone gets first, second, third, and not
Sure.
line, so.
So why would you want to change that and then not give it to that firm that's meeting them requirements currently?
Part of this is to save them time and money as well. I mean, the proposals, it takes the firms, you know, it takes them a lot of hours too and money to put these together. They don't, you know, they don't always get the project either. Even someone doesn't get it.
No.
Every project, someone doesn't get it.
I get it.
And so they've got time and effort put into that. This helps save time for them as well as for staff, time and money, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Anybody else? Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, in a nutshell, staff is asking us to revise Administrative Policy 3.17 and raise the current $25,000 threshold to $75,000 for contractual services when following the current RFP procedures. Either we trust staff to do their jobs or we don't. We ask staff to bring forward ideas that they think will make them more efficient. That's exactly what staff is doing. We're going to trust them to do their jobs or we're not. That's what it boils down to.
Thanks, sir. Mr. King.
I would just add to clarify from my first comments that I'll support this, but I would like to see, I don't know if it's 6 months, a year, whatever, once we get some projects, to report back to us how it's improved the process, how it's, doesn't necessarily have to be breakdown of dollar amounts went to each firm, but how it's improved our process internally of selecting firms, saving time, and all of that. So I still want to stick to that and get some feedback once this has had some time to be in motion, and also has some feedback from the firms, how it saved them time, because I think there's value to that as well. So I would like to see that sometime down the road if we can stick to that. Thank you.
Are you going to make an amendment on that one?
All right, Mr. Trout says he's got it.
Yes.
Anybody else? All right. Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Reliably debate. Clerk, call a roll.
Tornquist.
Yes.
Morenas. Yes. Hickey.
No.
Kuhn.
Yes.
Solberg.
Yes.
Lee.
No.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, folks. Number 10. Yep, number 11. My apologies. I'm still trying to get used to this iPad. Number 11, Administrator recommending approval resolution approving the purchase of truck chassis from Interstate Motor Trucks, Inc. of Mesa City, Iowa, and a recycling body from Elliott Equipment of Grimes, Iowa, for the sanitation department. Mr. Hickey, do you have a motion?
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tornquist. Mr. Hickey.
Just part of doing my due diligence, and not that I don't trust staff, but I wanted to check for this on my own. When you read the packet, it shows that this truck's a 2004. Has not even 60,000 miles on it. So I guess I went down and met with Bill today, checked the truck out, just to see what kind of shape it was in. And it's in pretty rough shape. So it needs to be replaced. Just in case some of you guys were curious, I hadn't maybe got a chance to go out and look at it, or were thinking about it, but I have motion to approve this.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Anybody else? All right, we got a motion and a second. Clerk call the roll.
Hickey,
Yes.
Tornquist,
Yes.
Solberg,
Yes.
Hewen,
Yes.
Morenas, yes, Lee.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Number 20, this is a public hearing. Administrator recommending approval, A, resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development area and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or any combination thereof of such areas necessarily in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designating such area as appropriate for urban renewal projects, and adopting amendment number 1 to the Mesa City Unified Urban Renewal Plan. B, ordinance amending ordinances numbers 01-17, 01-18, 01-19, 01-20, 02-21, and 03-23, and related prior ordinances, providing that general property tax is levied and collected each year on all property located within the Mesa City Unified Urban Renewal Area in the city of Mesa City, County of Cerro Gordo, State of Iowa, by and for the benefit of the State of Iowa, City of Mesa City, County of Cerro Gordo, Mesa City Community School District, and other taxing districts, be paid to a special fund for payment of principal and interest on loans, money was advanced to, and indebtedness, including bonds issued or to be issued, incurred by the city in connection with the Mesa City Unified Urban Renewal Area. This is public hearing, so now is the time for comments. If you'd like to make a comment regarding item A or B, please come to the podium, state your name and address. All right, seeing none, we will take a motion. We'll close the public hearing, and we'll take a motion in a second to adopt a resolution.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Solberg. Ms. Morenas,
No comment.
is there a second?
No comment.
Thank you. All right. Well, do we have any? Anybody else? All right. Clerk call the roll.
Morenas, yes, Solberg,
Yes.
Hickey,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hewen,
Yes.
Tornquist.
Yes.
All right. Do we have a motion and a second for B, the ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Solberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kuhn. Ms. Solberg?
No comment.
Mr. Kuhn?
No.
Anybody else? Ms. Tornquist?
Yeah, just checking for understanding here. I may have missed this. Did I just hear on first reading? And am I missing in the packet where we were going to have multiple readings?
If it doesn't state second or final, we can only approve first.
I wasn't understanding from the packet that this was going to require 3 readings. Okay. So I may have just misunderstood. That caught me by surprise. I thought this was a done deal tonight. Okay.
Separate. Anyone else? All right. Well, we've got a motion and a second. The sum first. For color roll.
Solberg,
Yes.
Hewen,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hickey,
Yes.
Tornquist,
Yes.
Morenas. Yes.
All right. Thank you, council. Number 21, ordinance amending Title 12, the city code, being the zoning ordinance of said city and changing the boundaries of certain districts They're in Zone Z3, General Urban District to Z4, Multi-Use District for property located at 418 First Street Southwest. This is on final. Do we have a motion and a second for the ordinance to be adopted?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Marinas. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tornquist. Ms. Marinas.
No comment.
Mr. Tornquist.
No comment.
Anybody else? All right, we've got a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, this is on final. Clerk, call the roll.
Marinas? Yes. Tornquist?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Hewen?
Yes.
Solberg?
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Number 22, mayor recommending approval ordinance mandating posting meeting agendas, packets, and minutes on the Mason City, Iowa official website. This is also on final. Do we have a motion and a second?
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Stolberg. Mr. Hickey?
No, I know we haven't had much discussion about this. I know I was gone at the first meeting when this was brought up. Again, I think this makes us more of a transparent government, even with all the different boards that are involved on this as a whole. It makes us the most transparent one in Mason City, the county, probably the state, and I think it's a great thing. I believe this is one of your ideas. And have we heard any feedback? Good. Negative to it at all? All right. So I think it's a great thing.
Ms. Solberg?
No comment.
Nobody else? All right. We've got a motion and a second. This is on final. For call roll.
Hickey?
Yes.
Solberg?
Yes.
Marinas? Yes. Tornquist?
Yes.
Hewen?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, folks. Seeing no further business on the agenda, meeting's adjourned.